Hello everybody and welcome to another Brother Crypt video. Today I wanted to answer the question, what is a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ETF? Are they important and live up to the hype? For me to be able to do this, I had to break the question down into multiple pieces. So I've been busy doing my research and uncovering this research has really helped me, and I wanted to share it with you. So without further ado, please smash up those likes, please share this video, and let's get things moving. With the more subscribers that I have, then I'm able to spend more time creating this quality content for you to help you navigate your way and help you understand things in cryptocurrency. So please smash up the likes. Right. Today is the 15th of July. It's actually Sunday, 15th of July. And here in the UK, it is 11 minutes past 4. The cryptocurrency market capital has 254 billion. And we have an increase in BTC dominance since the last video. I think in the last video it was around 41%. Now it's jumped up to about 42.9. We also have an increase in the number of cryptocurrencies listed on CoinMarketCap. My recollection was that we had about 1,620 in the last video, and today we've seen an increase of around about 14 cryptocurrency, with the total being 1,637. Bitcoin price has slightly decreased since the last video. It is now listed at 6,360. Bitcoin most of this week has been going sideways. Alright, so before I get into this video, if you want to contact me, I am contactable on Telegram at Brother Crypt. If you want to send me an email, please send me an email at brothercrypt@protonmail.com. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you want to ever search my videos, just go to YouTube and search Brother Crypt. I am also on LinkedIn at Brother Crypt. So if you've got a professional LinkedIn account, connect with me. You know, that's what we're here for. All right. So where are we? We are here answering the question, what is a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ETF? Are they important and live up to the hype? All right. So let's just check something. Right. So here we have the title. What is a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency ETF? Are they important and live up to the hype? Right. So for me to answer these questions, I really had to break it down into 7 multiple pieces. And really, if you want to learn, you know, what is a Bitcoin ETF and how it will help us, please stay and watch until the end of this video, because I've really done my research on this topic and I really wanted to share it with you. But for you to get the full presentation and all of my insights through my research, it's best that you do stay to watch all of the video. So I'm going to be tackling these 7 points. What is an ETF? What is a Bitcoin ETF? What will a Bitcoin ETF do for the cryptocurrency market? Why people prefer to buy a crypto ETF instead of cryptocurrency? Current landscape of cryptocurrency ETFs. What will our market capital look like when SEC approves the first cryptocurrency ETF? And what does ETFs mean to the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency, especially for Bitcoin? So for you to get that, please hang around until the end. And without further ado, let's get into my presentation. Right. So the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is an ETF in terms of the traditional, financial derivative that it is? So basically, an ETF is a derivative. It's a derivative of a stock or a bond or a product, and basically it is known as an exchange traded fund or funds. And basically they are investment funds, that aim to track the performance of a specific index, bonds, or portfolios. Indexes, aka indices, track the performance of grouped investments, such as the FTSE 100, which lists the largest 100 companies by market capital listed on the London Stock Exchange. In the USA, in America, you have something known as the S&P 500, and they index companies basically in America, and you can buy EFTs grouped with S&P 500. Indexes, you know, indices rise and fall in value or price just like a stock or cryptocurrency. With an ETF, the buyer doesn't hold any equity or stock in any of the companies indexed in a traditional ETF. They buy a fund that tracks the chosen index performances. ETFs are continually traded like shares. You can hold them as long as you like. There is no minimum holding period. So just to summarize, an ETF is a type of fund. It can and it indirectly owns assets such as bonds, stocks, gold bars, etc., and divides ownership of itself into shares, which are held by shareholders. Unlike traditional mutual funds, ETFs do not sell or redeem their value, including shares. What is a Bitcoin ETF? A Bitcoin ETF, like any other exchange traded fund, will track Bitcoin's benchmark index. It will replicate it once a day or intraday performance and allow investors who have a brokerage account the chance to invest without worrying about challenges such as buying, BTC from an exchange, having problems with storage, and more importantly, the security of those cryptocurrency assets. As a brokerage account is required, it will be mostly geared towards institutional investors. Therefore, the difference is that when you invest in a Bitcoin ETF, you have the luxury of trading Bitcoin ETFs without the struggles of buying and storing Bitcoin. Basically, a Bitcoin ETF is a paper/electronic representation of ownership of an asset managed by a fund. Some say one existing drawback to investing in Bitcoin is the complexity surrounding it. However, with the advent of a potential Bitcoin ETF, the cryptocurrency will become open to a diverse set of investors. This means that investors who are willing but unable to get over the technical hurdles can now invest in Bitcoin the way some people do with mutual funds or pensions. People invest their money into these pots without having to manage them in any way, shape, or form through these ETFs and pensions and mutual funds. Okay, so the next sub question is, what will a Bitcoin ETF do for the cryptocurrency market? So, we've established that as a result of the advent of ETF, the crypto market will have new entrants. It is then expected that Bitcoin and or the top 10 to top 100 cryptocurrencies will rise. ETFs will cause the value of Bitcoin to surge. This is in tandem with the occurrence in the early 2000s where ETFs for gold were set up and the price of gold splurged drastically. The cryptocurrency market will rise because ETF operators, fund managers, will have to buy the underlying asset. Okay, so the next point is, why would people prefer to buy cryptocurrency ETFs instead of cryptocurrency? And then bang, as this picture looking at is custody, basically custodial solutions. So the reason that we're not seeing fund managers or people that don't necessarily want to take good risks or people who have been waiting on the sideline is because they've got lots of money. Managers, they can easily control anywhere from tens of millions to hundreds of billions to even billions, or even 10 or hundreds of billions. So fund managers definitely have power, but right now there hasn't necessarily been a custodial solution, which is one of the reasons why people would prefer to buy a crypto ETF as opposed to cryptocurrency for custodial solutions. The second is easier barrier to entry. So buying an ETF is a lot more easier than it would be for you to buy and for you to store your cryptocurrency off an exchange, having control and sovereignty of your own private keys. The third is that, buying an ETF will enable you to have a greater diversified portfolio. So there are probably people who naturally want exposure to certain technology markets, to certain foreign markets abroad, who say, right, we want to concentrate on technology in emerging markets, and therefore they want a basket of different companies who are doing different things. And one way that this can be purchased is through an ETF. So basically with an ETF, remember, you're not buying one stock or one commodity, you are grouping particular companies in relation to your objective. So yes, different people want different exposure. Now, if they want to get into cryptocurrency, they can have an exposure to a basket of cryptocurrencies. Or what some people are doing is that they are buying blockchain ETFs, but that's a whole different story. But very quickly, a blockchain ETF differs from a cryptocurrency ETF and a Bitcoin ETF because you are buying companies who have made it public that they are doing things in blockchain, not necessarily cryptocurrency, but blockchain, and therefore you're able to bucket these stocks of these companies, and then you're able to offer a blockchain ETF. And then the fourth and final point why people prefer to buy a crypto ETF instead of cryptocurrency is cryptocurrency currently is unregulated, but a Bitcoin ETF would sort of come under the approval of the regulators, and it will be publicly traded on major stock exchanges. So that point is very big. We're going to get into the current landscape of ETFs later, but very quickly, you may have heard of the Winklevoss twins have been seeking approval since last year, or perhaps since 2015. I think they've been rejected twice, but they've been, seeking approval from the Security and Exchanges Commission, but have failed. So they obviously want a form of regulation, and these things need to be regulated because they will be sold by banks, by financial institutions, by stock exchanges, etc. Okay, so the next question is, what is the current landscape of cryptocurrency ETFs? So, as of the 5th of June 2018, CoinDesk, yes, that's it. CoinDesk reported that OKX, the cryptocurrency trading platform launched by OKCoin, previously one of the 3 top exchanges in China, had rolled out a cryptocurrency exchange traded fund. Its platform, pegged against the US dollar, Tether cryptocurrency, included Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, and OKB, the platform's own utility. So basically, they had rolled out a exchange traded fund, and they had sort of incorporated 6 cryptocurrencies, some of the top cryptocurrencies, as well as their own coin in that fund. Moving on, Hubio Pro also launched a cryptocurrency-based ETF a few weeks ago, also back in June. That product replicates the market performance of 10 cryptocurrencies on its platform based on their market valuation and liquidity. Notably, both OKCoin, OKX, and Hubio have opened their crypto portfolio to Chinese investors, but have applied restrictions to exclude users from the US and all of its territory. So basically, I've brought this up to say that in China, they're already dealing with ETFs. They've sort of still blocked off cryptocurrency. However, this Chinese exchange is offering an ETF and is targeting specifically Chinese investors. Okay, so ETFs are live, they are functioning, but the big hoo-ha right now that we're witnessing in YouTube is because basically SEC haven't approved an ETF yet. And basically, if America does, it will give the space a lot more legitimacy as well. Right, moving on. The surge in the value of Bitcoin last year helped the New York investment boutique claim the title of best performing exchange traded fund of 2017. The ARK Investments, which specializes in strategies based on new technologies and disruptive innovations, included an exposure to Bitcoin in the ARK Innovative ETF, which delivered a total return of 87% last year, according to unaudited data from Bloomberg. The ARK ETFs are actively managed and do not readily compare with most ETFs, which track board indices according to rules that determine when and which securities can be bought or sold by an EFT manager. In the US, the Securities and Exchanges Commission, SEC, continues to debate crypto-based ETFs, having raised concerns over the liquidity, volatile valuations, and the risk of fraud and market manipulation. The SEC rejected a Winklevoss ETF in March 2017, and this January, two Bitcoin-related ETF proposals were withdrawn at regulators' request. Most recently, you may have heard the Chicago Board Option Exchange, CBOE, put forward an application for a Bitcoin ETF license. Right, so what will our market cap look like when SEC approves the first Bitcoin cryptocurrency market ETF? The honest answer is I wish I knew precisely. No one will ever know the outcome of any particular piece of news, to be honest with you. But, in my opinion, that's really the best I can do, is I can share my opinion with you. And in my opinion, I think this will, over the period of perhaps 1 year, grow the market by at least 100. Now, this is just my opinion. Now, I think this because ETFs would become approved by Securities and Exchange Commission, and then the following will happen, in my opinion. First, we'll see an increased demand for Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. Secondly, institutional buyers of both ETFs and underlying cryptocurrencies listed will see a much larger market. You'll have all of the retail buyers, which we mostly are, but then you'll have more institutional buyers coming in. So the market will be expanded. And then the third and final point, what I think our market cap will look like when SEC approves the first ETFs, is that our currency market will open up. Companies like Vanguard, like HSBC, like Barclays, like Fidelity Investment, and Nasdaq, and other big liquidity makers will come into this space. They will be buying and selling EFTs and ETFs, they will be buying, selling ETFs, and I think they will also be buying the underlying cryptocurrency as well. So now the last question I wanted to answer, what does ETFs mean to the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin? This was probably the hardest point to research and answer in this piece. I think the market is definitely ahead of the technology, in the sense that Bitcoin is still in beta phases. And we're waiting for the Lightning Network, and we're waiting for things like atomic swaps so that we can be able to send Bitcoin transactions quicker, at lower costs, and to exchange Bitcoin and other Bitcoin-based cryptocurrencies such as Litecoin using atomic swaps without exchanges. So thereby we're able to sort of reduce fees. I think having an ETF makes sense from the fame of Bitcoin, but not necessarily its limited functionality. So pause. Yes, Brother Crypt definitely thinks that, having researched into ETFs, it definitely makes sense to have it, but based on Bitcoin's limited functionality and how it's used and its by adoption, I think we're running way ahead of ourselves personally. I think, in my opinion, the introduction of a SEC-approved Bitcoin futures back in 2017, could have been used to manipulate the Bitcoin price and keep the price suppressed until, December 2017, until now. Basically, it's really gone down. And I think that there was a lot of hype with getting the first Bitcoin futures. Fast forward till today, I think there'll be hype if we get the swaps. But then, if we're looking at the technology of the platform, what it does, the improvements it's made since it went live, I think we're way ahead of ourselves. However, I am an investor and I do want to see the value of Bitcoin price increase. So I am looking forward it. But another thing is that, SEC approved the gold fund back somewhere in 2008, between 2008 to 2010. Due to the subprime lending crisis in 2009, the gold price per ounce had been close to an all-time high of 1,400 when it was released. And currently now the price of a gold bar is around 1,241. So basically what I'm saying is just that if we look at like a commodity like gold, in my opinion, gold price is being manipulated because, I am an investor, mostly a property investor and now cryptocurrency investor. And currently we are looking for another buy-to-let investment purchase right now. And in the last year to 2 years, the prices of houses in London have increased dramatically. Prices have always been high since I started investing, but in the last year, I've watched them increase by what feels like 20 to 30%. So for example, if I'm looking at a house that 2 years ago was around about 200,000, right now that house is about 300 to 320,000. So that's almost like a 30 to 40% increase. I think that many property prices have increased by more, maybe up to 60%. So that's insane. So I'm asking myself, if I look at food has started to increase a lot. Food prices, you will see at least somewhere between a 10 to maybe 20 to 25 to 30% increase in many food over the last few years. So then the thing is, why hasn't gold increased by this amount as well? And then at the same time, we're basically using cash and fiat money, that's government issued money, to get into all of these cryptocurrencies. So for example, if you want to buy an ETF, you're gonna have to use your dollars. And because we're using dollars, if you were to be buying gold, the gold that you purchase in relation to the price that you play in, factoring in things like inflation, the cost of gold is artificially low. It's very low. It's just so low that it's a bargain right now. So therefore, if gold is an asset, that's the way I see it, such as property, such as cryptocurrencies, why is gold so low? And the only sort of decent reason I can come why gold is so low is because it has been artificially manipulated. And now I couple this back to, the Bitcoin futures. Bitcoin futures was introduced in December, and since its introduction, it really feels like Bitcoin has just been held down. I think a fair price for Bitcoin should be around about the 10,000 to maybe over 10,000. 6,300 is good if you want to buy for the long term, but I really feel that this is suppressed. So, in my opinion, I think that, Bitcoin ETFs are very good for the market because we'll see institutional money come to this space. However, you know, is it likely that the going down the course of regulation and going the course of SEC approval will be able to put any form of restraint on Bitcoin? In my opinion, no. I think Bitcoin is untouchable. I don't think anybody can really fuck with Bitcoin unless we're talking about, coercing the number of sort of miners or the nodes. People, like I heard that if you control 51% or over of the network, then you can sort of have control of Bitcoin. That is something I need to look into. However, because of the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, I don't think that you introducing EFTs, you introducing approval, you saying Bitcoin has to do this, you saying that, I don't think Bitcoin can easily be coerced. However, with that said, exchanges are a weak point of contact. So if, you know, US governments or regulators, they wanted to bring down Bitcoin, then they would look at the gatekeepers. However, the underlying technology, it just can't be fucked with, in my opinion. So I am very skeptical because I think when you create financial products such as derivatives, such as your swaps, now EFTs, in December we had futures. I think that they just add an extra layer of complexity to the market. So I'm always wary of those complexities. I like to keep things simple as possible. And I think that there's better underlying value in you holding the cryptocurrencies than instead of you buying, these paper-based or electronic representational financial products of the same assets that we're talking about via, an EFT. So, yeah, just to summarize, I don't think an EFT is anything for us to worry about. Basically, I think Bitcoin is so far ahead in terms of what we have now. I think looking at its decentralized nature, I think it's untouchable. Now, if we were to apply that argument to Ethereum or to maybe EOS, the outcome would be clearly different because, those networks don't have the same sort of, decentralized power that Bitcoin have. So the arguments would be different. So, guys, basically, to summarize, I think that by having a Bitcoin ETF, once it is approved, yes, we will start going to the moon. However, it will be more important for us to own those underlying assets. And me personally, I won't be buying an ETF probably ever in my life unless I've got money to literally burn. But no, I wouldn't be buying an ETF. However, when it does come here, I think it will be a very bullish time for Bitcoin. But as I said before, coupled with things like gold, we need to be careful, because I can't necessarily, I don't have the bandwidth to be able to know how comes gold has, been artificially suppressed. And we really need to be able to look at the history of gold and to make sure that, our cryptocurrencies aren't suppressed in the same way. All right. So really, that's it for me. I hope you've liked this video. I hope you've enjoyed my attempt to answer all of those questions, and I hope it's really given you knowledge. So if it has, please smash up the likes, please leave a comment, and yeah, if you want to get hold of me, you're welcome to get hold of me here. Until the next video, Brother Crypt signing out. Take care. Peace.